there's a different kind of money in the streets right now. Um, I need someone, and a lot of the cats who still hustle and everything, maybe chime in and help me try to figure this out. I've noticed there's a different kind of money out there in the streets right now, and it's big. It's big. All this money that's floating around that all of these cats is getting, it's like money's not an issue right now. These cats got money. These cats got money, and it ain't all dope money either. You know, it's I know I don't know. I ain't haven't been able to put my finger on it yet, but I've had this conversation with several people, and they vibe with me as well. Like it's a there's a kind of money out here that's circulating right now that is driving a lot of this behavior, and I don't know. I haven't quite figured out where it's coming from yet. I mean,
I think I know. For me being the younger out of the crew, for one, it's way easier to get your hands on some money than it was in the 90s.
It is.
It's so much easier to get your hands on legal money as well. Just think about the everyday platforms we use. You can make money off of that. Of course, the traditional way getting a job, you make money off of that.
You can make money off
taking
of
over
rapping
right now.
Did y'all know that?
You can. Yeah. One thing that's taking over right now that's very popular with the young people is scamming.
Yeah. That's big.
It's always been scammers, though.
But get this, you can make money.
It's
off
like
of rapping.
It's taking over.
You
What?
can make money.
You keep repeating this, so we're gonna give you a moment to explain what you listen. You're being sarcastic. We know you get money off of rapping. What is it you're trying to say? Or are you trying to allude to something?
Rapping has became a motherfucking career, nigga. It became a trade.
What's wrong with that?
It's not an art no more. It's not the Temptations, even some of these are the Mary J. Bliges. It's I can get out here and make me a couple of songs and put it out and make me 100,000 off of it. You know what I'm saying? It done be it's like it done became.
So now I guess I suppose you're trying to tell us Pops now has a problem with the hustle.
Oh no. Oh no!
Oh well, then what did you?
No. Now, just because I don't have a problem with the hustle, don't mean that I don't have a problem with what you hustling. There's a difference. I ain't never got a problem with nobody's hustle. A hustle is just the energy that's put into whatever you hustling. That's all that means. Okay. Now, what they hustling? I got a big problem with it. I think it's fucking us up. I think it's just devastating.
I think this. When it comes to music, I think about this. They say history repeats itself. Music evolves. There was people in the 90s talking about kind of the same stuff that's talk about now. It's just not as explicit.
Man, there was people in the 70s and the 60s talking about this shit. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, we can say
different type of music and different words. Not as blatant. Just like when I listen to the young, and I'm sorry to cut you off, get right back to you, but when I listen to some of the R&B, but now I said it before, I'm like, man, they don't leave shit to the imagination no more. You know what I mean? But yeah, music evolves. But my bad. Go ahead, nephew.
Yeah, like drugs and killings was always talked about on records. I mean, Rick James made a whole song about weed. And so it's just more explicit and it's out here now. And people just don't call it Mary Jane. You just call it what it is. That's just the difference now. Like back then, diss songs, if you had a problem with somebody, you put their name on the song. People stopped doing that, but now we took it a step further. Instead of putting your name on the song, I'm telling you,
okay, well then, will you at least concede this, Salamander, that this money out here, that these cats ain't broke? These cats ain't broke. So let me ask you something. Maybe this will, this might be a little off the subject, but if there's 25-year-olds, 18-year-olds, hustlers, scammers, working cats, entrepreneurs. The entrepreneur game's big time now too, especially since the internet. You can entrepreneur your farts in a plastic bag anymore and sell them and call yourself an entrepreneur because you get a 1099. Hope y'all filing your taxes. 87,000 new tax agents coming online. I hope you filed your taxes, all you entrepreneurs.
Hey man, I don't know if they're gonna completely get the full 80,000
I
by the
don't think
time
they're
it's
gonna
said
get
and
the
done.
full 80,000,
Because
but
there's a little pushback on it now. You know what I mean?
there is, but still, revenue's revenue. I don't give a damn what side of the aisle you on. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
they're gonna grow and they're gonna get some funding to do some things. Yeah, there's no question about that.
yeah. So all these entrepreneurs. I hope y'all been entrepreneuring y'all taxes, because trust me, that shit's real. Nigga, that shit got paperwork. That shit's real. But
Yeah.
and can we say we as black people still broke? Or poor, or can we just say we broke? I mean, think about it. I know y'all.
Yes.
Man,
Hold on,
Yes.
hold on. I know y'all see, like everybody else, all these TikTok videos. I got 10,000, 35,000 on my hand, and this and that, and then just the conversation anymore, and the things that people want and experience, and the things they do. These are things that people do that have a little bit of money, even down to the people that take vacations all the time. Everybody knowing people going down to Atlanta, back and forth, going here, going there. I mean, my point is that there's lifestyles that everybody's making their money and getting what they got. And that's what this motherfucking place is about. So if we're at that point, can we still sit here and cry like we do on issues? Or is it just the fact that we ain't getting up and fucking doing it? You know what I'm
I
saying?
might have misunderstood the
I,
question. So very real quick, because I think you went kind of both ways there. So I can't to answer the question. No, I don't believe black folks are broke. I don't when they talk about. I mean, heck, they claim. I don't remember what the numbers are. I'm sure we can find it in a minute, but they claim that we like one of the top, if not the top, consumer
Yeah,
ethnic
like two
consumer in the
trillion
world.
dollars, some crazy number like that. Yeah.
So we can't be that big of consumers and be broke.
No,
It's just what we're it's just we're not
excuse
wealthy.
me, everybody,
It's
for
where our
y'all.
money goes.
It's been a long day.
The whole generational wealth thing that we talked about before and everything else. We just got a lot of obstacles we got to knock down and things we got to pull together and make some real changes. People keep talking about it, talking, but the only thing that's really going to happen is to understand when a real plan is presented and then following through on that plan. Stop looking at the people and the messengers and start paying attention to the message more. And there's plenty of plans that's done came out that's been tried and or they ain't really been tried and implemented like that. But we got to start. We got to go ahead. It's time to grasp something. We got to
Well,
grasp something.
we hard headed. That's just like, not to spit out too much, but since we're talking about, culture and population, we are evolving. Think about it now. Labor, you got slave labor. You don't get no cheaper than that. The only overhead you got is ass whoopings and butt kickings. Okay. And then after that, you got, Jim Crow, you got, you gonna pay you less, because my point is you always have to have cheap labor to run anything. Right now we got China, cheapest labor, India, cheapest labor, but you know what happens? At some point, that cheap labor evolves into working class people, because that cheap labor been making some money for a little while. And then that cheap labor evolves into working class to middle class working class people, which means it's costing more money to get that labor, because these people are becoming more accustomed to living better as the generations roll. And they're doing this. That's how it evolved. That's how things evolved over here. At one time, white folks were slaves too. Now you can't catch one that has any memory of it, because it's evolved. Black folks, we getting there. We getting there. We don't
Let,
know in
let,
there.
let, let me
But
ask you a question
but
based
my
off what you.
but my point is this, because I don't want to settle on that. I don't want to settle on that, because my point that I'm getting to is that we need to be more afraid of automation. Andrew Wayne Lang said people thought he was crazy talking about this proposal for universal paychecks, something to take care of people. But we're getting to that point, because if we don't get out here and man, this automation is going to take over, and because that's the cheapest labor we can get. They're already going to cut the border off. That's going to be shut down. You know, and think about it. If you can't get a $10,000 roof no more, you're gonna be pissed. If you got a white folk come out there and get it, that same job, 25,000. The Mexicans doing them for 10. You know, we all done benefited from that shit.
Let me ask you a question. You brought up white folks and slavery. If one could argue, if I could argue that slavery ain't went nowhere, that black folks are still slaves in this country right now. If I could present that argument, then wouldn't it even be fair to say that by that same concept, there's white slaves in this country too?
Yeah.
To this day, we look at slavery one-sided so many different ways, but we don't really understand how much of an economy it was. You know what I'm saying? And for real, when you hear slavery broke down by some individuals, you know, you get more of an understanding of how the slavery is still going on now because the same slave masters still exist. There's the corporations. We call them corporations. These same corporations that was running slavery back in the 1800s, 1700s are the same corporations, different variations of names and whatnot, but same corporations that still exist today. And we, the people, still work they plantations every day, trying to, you know, slaves, you know, there was an understanding that slaves got paid not a living wage, but they were paid, you know, housing and shelter and food and whatnot. And, you know, sometimes, you know, if you really look at how most slavery it was really enacted, we understand this thing about sharecropping and everything like that. And we'll see where it really moved into and why I say about the corporations. However, with all that said, I mean, it's not a far-fetched thing to understand that white folks were slaves in this country at one time too, because one could argue that we're still all slaves in this country if we understand the definition of slavery and the understanding of corporations and their involvement with it.
Now, I seen something. It's a movie that came out, I believe either this year or last year. It got Keke Palmer in it, and it was about like she was enslaved, and when she escaped, she realized that it was now. I realized, and as I was doing my research on it, they said that was based on a true story, because in the story that was based on, I can't remember her name, but I'm gonna get it up. But I believe it was the same thing. She was born in the 60s, but she escaped in the 90s, like 1992 or something like that. But stuff like that is still going on to this day with people who own lands and everything, who still got slaves that never let them go after you know, the abolished slavery was set free.
Yep. Let me ask you, nephew, if
I got a log out. I'll be back.
All right.
The movie's called Alice.
Yeah, Alice.
Yeah, I said now. It was the second. She was enslaved and she escaped. It was 1973. That's what it was. But hold on, let me see who's the true story. Yeah, it said it was based on the true story of Black Americans who were still enslaved as late as 1963. And I always wondered that too, because from the way history teaches us, what we learned in school, we were slaves. The Civil War happened. The North won. Everybody came back from the South, was like, all right, y'all free. And they just left. For one, that didn't make sense to me, because I just knew, like, how did the way that history predicts or predict how everything was running in the South, I knew for a fact, like, ain't no way that these white people just letting these black people just walk off free like that. Especially if you own private land. So at the same time, and then it's back in the day. So you only know about news from word. Some people probably didn't tell them. And if you got private land, people just can't come on your stuff. So who knows that it's still stuff going on like this to this day. And not even that. If you got private land, you probably got acres, like a bunch of land too, that you can hide this stuff too. There's probably generations of people who still enslaved that never know that this is 2022 and this is not allowed. It just blew my mind when I seen that movie. I was like, wow, that is crazy. And if something like that is still going on, that is crazy.
But again, I don't know. I don't know. I ain't trying to get too controversial, but I mean, the only real reason we know all that shit ever existed anyway is because of media and TV. If it wasn't never no TV and newspapers and shit like that, you know, it'd be a whole different world, man. There would be no way that we would still be running around here calling ourselves the minority on this land if it wasn't for what we learned on media and TV and newspapers and schools and stuff that's by design meant to tell a narrative. Now, the people who buy the narrative never ask themselves, well, who's the narrative meant for? But you know, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's been going on for a couple hundred years now. You know, it's kind of interesting with this age of information that we're in, where everybody has so much access to so much different information all at once. That it's kind of interesting that watching what gets suppressed and what don't in this era of information now, and you know how the powers to be kind of react towards certain information opposed to other information. Like, for example, this is something kind of recent. The Hebrew to Negro documentary thing that the film that
Kyrie had retweeted.
Kyrie just got. I hate to use the term in trouble for, but I guess that's the reality of
that's what happened though.
Yeah,
it's some bullshit. Dude, his job back. That was my saying like the first episode, either the first or second episode I said, but anything about black people, you can say and all this stuff and make racist jokes and do blackface and say sorry and you get your job back. The moment you disrespect the Jewish community, you gotta go through all these. You get stuff taken away. Nick Cannon for one, he got his soul taken away. All this stuff taken away. He had to go on the tour. Every platform he went on, he went and apologized and everything. Then on the next episode of his podcast, he had another person from the Jewish community came out and basically educated him on what he had wrong and everything. And then after he did all that stuff, then they gave him his job back and gave him his show back. Kyrie Irving, he shared the film. I actually watched it. I just think he shared it because he's Hebrew and it was just a title that caught his eye. I think he shared it. But the fact that you took him off the team and now he got to do 6 different things for him to get his job back. No, that it's not easy. I just feel like it's doing too much. That's doing too much. He already apologized multiple times on different accounts already.
Right.
So he got to beyond if y'all don't do the same thing. If it's a disrespect towards black people.
I mean, yeah, and you know, like I said, it's one of those things where it's like, it, you know, like I said, I sit back, I kind of watch the different narratives and different things that's being presented and argued against and whatnot. And I see that even with this documentary, that it seems like this Hebrew and this Hebrew thing is being brought back up more and more, and it's like I don't know. I see a trap. It's like here they go trying to put us back in that Bible. It's like as soon as enough individuals start waiting, no matter what their politics is and whatever, but they wake up and at least see the Bible for what it was and what it's done and the damage that it's done to, more specific, our community. However, all across the world, it's been used in different versions to colonize all over. But
Mhm.
anyway, it just seems like another thing to draw more individuals back into it. Like it's like because in reality, everybody already know much about the Hebrew Israelites and stuff like that. I mean, we've all watched watched them talk about their ideology in different forms and fashions, and and we've seen individuals who had to beat up on them intellectually as far as like different scenarios when it comes to specifically the Bible, but also and
Mhm.
some of the things that they choose to handpick, because that's the beautiful and glorious thing uh about the Bible, is that it's designed purposely to be able to almost pull any argument out of, no matter where you sit. I mean, I'm not one to go deep into religion, so I'm try to leave that alone.
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say one thing about that I learned is two things that is very, 'cause it's very hard to, even if you can have all the right answers, but politics and religion is two topics. It don't matter if you got the right answers or not. It's subjective. Everybody got different
Well,
points of view. Like you see, because the way I was taught is like with the Bible is projected in the way you read it, the way you take it. So like the way you read the Bible and the way you take the word is not the same way I see the Bible,
well,
and
that's the
I
way the
see the Bible.
Bible's designed. So everybody, that's why you have so many different denominations and so many different religions, because everybody can have their own beliefs off of the same book, because it's purposely designed for confusion. So
Right.
I mean, that's that
Right.
like I said, I try to stay clear from religion in certain contexts, because I done got to the point in my life where I don't need that argument with people. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got their belief. Look, more important, if what you're doing personally is helping you to become a better person in your life personally and be better to others around you and things of that sort, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit here and try to tear it down. I'm not one of those ones that's about to run around and find where all the Hebrews are hanging out in my city and on the sidewalk, so I can go and argue them down on the sidewalk and get them to see my point over what their point is, and try to show them how smart I am with the understand. Isn't it? Look, by now, in 2022, it shouldn't even be considered being smart, understanding where the Bible comes from, where it was formed, and how it's been manipulated to go to different areas and colonize people, and who was doing the colonization. That shouldn't be being considered smart. That's so much common knowledge by now that it just doesn't even make sense that people still treat it as if it's like, oh, you're attacking my religion. No, I'm just telling you that what good is a book that doesn't even have a copyright in the front of it? Come on, man. It doesn't tell you who wrote it. You know, 16, 1611, whatever.
To
A
me
company,
personally,
publishing company.
when it comes to religion, it's super hard because I believe black people shouldn't be Christians because I believe that's the white man's religion. That's the religion they put on us when we so called came off the boat. I don't believe that the person
Still
that we
going with
call
that off the boat narrative, huh, nephew?
yeah, but
I'm
I
just
don't believe that we can't. I don't believe that the person that we call Jesus. I don't believe that's his name, because if that's his name, how was his name Jesus and the letter J wasn't invented to the 1600s? That's something
point to
in
a
the
lot of the
Bible.
differences I brought up before.
It is right. In the Bible, it describes how he is. His skin is bronze, hair is like wool. But pictures that we see in the Christian church is a white guy. Pictures we see in the Catholic church, a white guy. Pictures we see in the Baptist church, a white.
You know, it's funny that people will read a book that at the end of the book it'll turn around, it'll tell you that it it'll go into detail descriptions throughout the book about this evilness that's out there in the world, you know. And we'll talk about Satan or the devil or whatever, however you want to put that energy. But then at the end of the book, after it takes time to put together this big elaborate book, and then it tells you that this ultimate evil entity will deceive you and the people with the pen. And yet people still don't understand when they're being deceived. I just it's beyond me. Like, you can point out
The
all the
Bible
different
to me,
things you can point out all the different things that's incorrect about about religious culture, like you said, whether if it's you're talking about the churches who parade the white Jesus and this and that, and there's black churches that do it, especially when I was young. Now, here lately in modern day, to my understanding, that there's a lot less of it going around in the black church, but I doubt if it's been changed that much. I mean, I still see niggas with the crosses and white Jesus on the cross all the time. So my bad. Go ahead. Excuse me.
uh, see with the Bible, because I believe the Bible is a handmade book. It's a man-made book.
You don't have to believe that.
Um,
That's fact. I mean,
I think
certain things you don't have to believe.
the stories that in the book, I believe it was. I think it was like told like if I tell you a story, you have to tell somebody else's story, that it's going to get mixed up. And basically, I think that's the premise of what the Bible is. And then we also got different versions. So if King James version, what he won't in his Bible, he's going to certain story in the Bible that and elaborate on it more and stuff. So I mean, that's just what it is to me.
None
I feel
of
like if I
the
don't go to
people in the
church
world, listen. None of the people in the world who the Bible was taken to needed the Bible to exist. Period. The Bible was taken to every single community that is using it by coincidence, individuals who later on came and colonized them. So, I mean, it's like I said, the argument. That's why I try to, because it gets to a point where it becomes like almost like you. I don't know how to explain. It's like you're dealing with children in some aspects when it comes to talking about the religion and Bibles and stuff, because we can't get past certain facts. You know what I'm saying? None of the Aboriginal people or any of the people who are in any of the places dealing with any of these Bibles that's coming after the 1611, and one could argue, what's going on with the different versions beforehand and whatnot too. If you ask me, I think all of it comes from a fictitious place in general, but Whatever. All those places, all the places that have it, whether you're talking about niggas in America, talking about niggas in Ghana or South Africa or anywhere, it's because it was taken to them, it was brought to them, and strangely enough, colonizers came not too far behind it. Period. I, I don't need to know much more than that when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not even for my people. If it was, we would have made it. We wouldn't have been sitting here. Someone wouldn't have brought it to us as a missionary talking about, oh man, you need to be saved. Y'all a bunch of savages and shit. Which they still do that to this day. Everything that we do is savage shit. We savages. Unless we, go by our Christian names and we're good colored folk. Whatever, man. The religion thing is a turn off for me. Until some people get through, it's just a turn off. Like that's what I mean by this whole thing about this Hebrew to Negro thing. Like, get niggas back into the Bible again, because so many niggas has walked away from it and understand it. Because in the age of information, it's not too hard to find out where it came from, where concepts come from, how important different councils was and stuff, and which councils got together to decide which information was pertinent to people and what wasn't, and who argued for what, and you can get into all that when it comes to the formations of the Bible and the religion in general and stuff, and who these people were and where they come from. Yeah, and yes, there were black folks that was involved with these councils and everything too. That was from different parts of northern Africa and whatnot. But and then what was put together was something that was put together intentionally to be used as such a strong weapon that in the right hands it can take over the whole complete world. And damn if we ain't there.